I'm alive. Welcome back for another stream, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're all doing well. Really appreciate you being here on this Saturday morning. How are we doing? Great to see so many tune in already. It's been the craziest day for me of the season. Of course, we had the double Gameweek 28 and 29 announcement yesterday, so I put together a video for that. Very rushed and last minute, but covered all the talking points, the fixtures, players to consider, chip strategy. And then on the subject of chip strategy, after some deliberating, I've decided to activate the wildcard. In fact, I've got Gabriel here, who isn't in my draft. Let me refresh that. There we go. So it is Tierney that stays in the team. So this is my wildcard draft. The wildcard is active. So we'll talk about the chip strategy and whatnot on the team. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. We've got a huge turnout already. 1,327 tuned in. Great to see so many members tuned in already as well. We've got Siama, we've got John, we've got Tim, Tyler, Chris. Great to see so many members. If anyone's interested, members get early access to my videos, and there's a private channel on the Discord where I give team feedback. So, yeah, links in the description if you're interested. The Hipster says, how are you? I'm good. I'm really tired. I'm on my second tee already. So I made the decision last night to wildcard, and obviously, because I'm a FPL YouTuber now, it's not a case of just making the decision. I've got to do a whole video and edit it together, record it and whatnot, do the thumbnail, upload it, write up the transcript, upload the subtitles. So it was a late one last night and an early one this morning. I guess at the back of my head I knew it was going to be a crazy day, and I woke up earlier, before my alarm even. Ashwin says, Gameweek 27, free hit. So my plan is not to free hit in 27. It will be a tough game week, no doubt. I've set myself up here so that I do have 3 Burnley players in 27. So in essence, I'll basically have 9 players out, but 3 with a double, so it's like having 12 players in a way. So it's going to be a rough game week 27, but I'd like to save the free hit if possible, because I think I could use it better later in the season. So that's my plan. 16 Melk says Robbo will not play both in the double game week. Possibly not. I think there's a chance Simicast gets a game. Basically what it came down to was who do I think is going to score higher over the remainder of the season rather than just in this double. And that's what's important in wildcards. You need to pick up players that you're looking to have for the long term. And I could end up having Pope for the long term because he does have 2 postponements to come, as do Arsenal. So I'm more than happy to have players like them who I could have long term and not too much of an issue. And I think Robertson is a season keeper now from here on. Chris says, morning Oscar, who to pair up with Sarr? You can't do Ramsdale. If you can't afford Ramsdale, I would probably... I'm trying to think who's got the postponements. I did prepare a graphic for the postponements, so we can have a look at this. In fact, I just realised I've cropped it. That is the most useless graphic I think I've ever had on screen. Can you tell I didn't sleep much last night? You can't even tell who's got these postponements. Sorry about that. Well, that's useless. I'll see if I can find the graphic. It was from Lego Manny on Twitter, so bear with me. Basically, what I would do if you can't afford Ramsdale is perhaps just look at a keeper who has some postponements to come, because you'll get a couple of extra fixtures out of them. I think I found the graphic that I had cropped. I didn't want to have all the fixtures on it ideally because it's a bit confusing with all this, but we'll need it anyway because we've got the teams down the left. So perhaps you could get someone like Dubravka. I think he's 4.4 mil. He's got a double in 28 and a double in 29. I know Newcastle aren't great defensively, but Dubravka perhaps an option. I think he's probably the best if you can't afford Ramsdale. I think I missed another message as well. Anurag says, do you think a -8 for Salah, Son and Jimenez for KDB, Bruno, Watkins is worth it? Or just Salah and Son for KDB and Bruno for a -4? It depends who you're starting. If Watkins doesn't play. I do wonder if Watkins plays or not. There were rumours that he had... I think he had an injury or something of the like. And there were also rumours that he was being dropped for Danny Ings. So I don't mind the -8 for Jimenez. It sets you up nicely for this game week. Jimenez doesn't blank in game week 27, and then he's got another double in 28. So it's 2 double game weeks in the space of 3 game weeks. Noah says, why are you keeping Rafinha? For that same reason. I know Rafinha's not been setting the world alight recently, but he does have 2 double game weeks over the next 3 game weeks. So I'm keeping him for that reason. And then he's got Norwich in 29. And then he could make way after that. But Leeds don't blank in game week 30 either. So I think Rafinha's not actually that bad, even though the fixtures aren't great this particular double. Super Duper says, who would you start? Cancelo, 8 Nori or Broja? Difficult on that, because 8 Nori did get a bench in. Was it last game week? Or the game week before? So I wonder if he plays in both of the doubles. I think I'd start Cancelo. Daya says, how many free hits do you have left? I've got 1 left. Annoyingly, I had to use one, I think it was in game week 19, because I only had 6 players starting. So I was kind of forced to use it then. I really didn't want to because I knew it would be a valuable chip for the tail end of the season, but I'm down to 1 free hit, so that's why I'm trying to engineer this team towards the blank in 27, but also beyond that. I think the upside to the wildcard now is, I can't remember ever in the history of playing FPL that we could wildcard and prepare for so many blanks and doubles. If you wildcard now, you can prepare for the blank in 27 and 30, but you can also prepare for the doubles in 26, 28 and 29. So there's so much you can prepare for on a wildcard right now. So that's why I think there's a lot of upside. And in my case, I was looking to take a -4 this week and a -4 next. So it saves me 8 points in hits, plus I gain some players who double this game week. So there's a lot of upside in my position, but it's very team dependent. Nicholas says, start Cancelo or Ramsey. Definitely Cancelo. Cancelo, he's got double-digit points against top sides this season, like Chelsea, Man United. So I wouldn't be put off by the fact that he's facing Tottenham. Visitor Luke says, is having 3 Burnley players going to be rough after 27? No, I don't think so. I can afford to bench them, or I have the option to move Ben Mee on. It depends if Arsenal get a double in 28. That's still a possibility. Arsenal could double against Watford and Chelsea in Gameweek 28, so they'd have back-to-back doubles. So I would be benching Ben Mee, or if Arsenal don't double, I've got the option to sell him for someone like Digne. Aston Villa have a double in 28. And the other move I could make in 28 is I could sell Bowen, who faces Liverpool, for someone like Coutinho, who has a double in 28. So it's quite a high upside transfer or two I could make there. Kelzang says, hi Focal. Morning Kelzang. Matthew says, start Foden or Marcel. Foden. FPL Zin says, is Guehi to Tierney a good move? I'd be hesitant to sell someone who has a double game week. Really, I know Arsenal got the better double. It's not awful, but I don't think I would make the move personally. Patrick says, you say the opposite of Andy. I love it. What did Andy say? I saw that a lot of content creators have hit the button. Myself, I think Let's Talk FPL, FPL General, Ben Krellin. Yeah, so it's going to be a crazy game week for wildcards and whatnot. Thank you so much everyone who has tuned in so far. We've got 2,658 tuned in. If you are enjoying the stream so far, do hit like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Really appreciate you all being here. A quick look at the Kings of the Game Week, which is as follows. It was Sterling who joined the Kings back in Game Week 25 with his 18-pointer. Who do we think is joining the Kings in 26? That's the question. Could it be Salah appearing twice, or could it be someone we least expect? Like Firmino, but I say that Firmino was in the Kings before, back in Game Week 8, where he got that 20-pointer. I think he got a hat-trick and an assist. If anyone hasn't got their guesses in on our Discord, we've got a channel where you can play the Kings of the Game Week game, and you guess the player. So get your guesses in if you haven't. I look at the scout selection as well for Game Week 26, which is as follows. I'll just read it out. They've got Pope in goal. Back 3 is Alexander-Arnold, Gabriel Saiz. Midfield 5 is Captain Salah, Mane, Zaha, Saka, Cornet, and then up top 2 strikers, Lacazette and Jimenez. They've gone all out with 11 doubles. What do you guys think of the team? What did I get to with the chat? Bear with. Aloe says he's on a -8. Do I bring in Brozier or Weghorst? Thanks from Australia. You're on a -8. Brozier or Weghorst? I think Weghorst, because he's got the back-to-back doubles, but I don't think Weghorst does that well in this particular double. But I think he's a very good option in the double in the blank in 27, or a double for him. If you don't plan to free hit in 27, if you plan to free hit in 27, then I think Brozier. And then Southampton have the double in 28. Chris says, I have 3 Arsenal, hence no Ramsdale. Pope over Dubravka. Yeah, if you can afford Pope, even better. I like the Pope pick, definitely. Steven says... Oh, I missed it. Where did he get to? Steven says, hi Oscar, would you play King or Ramsey this week? King, definitely. Has a double. I know King's not been great recently, but I'd still play him. YouTuber says, is triple captain Salah a mistake to do this game week? Definitely not. It's perhaps the best opportunity we've ever had for triple captaincy. It just so happens that wildcard's also an opportunity this game week, which is why perhaps his effective ownership won't be as high, but it's still going to be over 200% in my opinion. Mikkel, thanks for renewing the membership for 3 months as well. If anyone's interested, fplfocal members get early access to my videos, and there's a private channel on the Discord server where I give team feedback. And there's also a Patreon, which is exactly the same perks, and there's only 1 tier, so you get everything. He says, -12 for triple captain Salah and a full Game Week 27 or wildcard. It depends on the rest of your team, Mikko. I can't remember what your team's looking like. I think you can justify -12 this week. I've seen a lot worse hits. FPL Raptors on a -20. In fact, I'm seeing him later today, so I'm going to have to ask him about that -20, because it's a very bold decision, I have to say, -20. But I think you can justify -12 this game week, I really do. It depends on the rest of your team though. If you've got players that you're fielding that you're not particularly happy with, even after a -12, then I think you can certainly make the case to wildcard. It saves you 12 points, maybe it saves you more in 27, perhaps it gains you more in future game weeks as well. Failing that, I think Game Week 28 is a very good opportunity to wildcard as well, if your team's shaping up well for this game week. Like in my case, I've used one free hit already, so I'm trying to engineer my team to be okay in 27. FPL Junkie says, should I move David De Gea and Reguilon to Ramsey and Saiss for a -8 here? I'm on triple captain Salah. Yeah, I like both moves. Ramsdale has a great double. Saiss has a double, has another double in 28. I think both moves are very reasonable transfers. Yeah, I like that. And Saiss doesn't blank in 27. Paul says, hey Oscar, which two would you start from Aït-Nouri, Digne, Edouard, Martinelli, Ramsey? Will bench the other three? Quite a difficult one. I would start Aït-Nouri, and I think I would start Edouard. I think those would be my two. I'll have a look if there's any Palace news yet. Doesn't look like it. I'll keep an eye out in case we get any Palace leaks, because if Edouard starts, then, you know, it's obvious to start him. But I think I'd start him regardless. But no Palace news. Yeah, Amir says, leaks on Salah not starting. Haven't heard anything of the sort. I'll be surprised if he benches Salah. Oh, well, some interesting news just come through now for those on a wildcard or alike. I've seen St. Maximin in a few wildcard drafts. This is from this morning. About 15 minutes ago. Told St. Maximin is out of today's game at West Ham and could be missing for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Not sure on the specifics, but it's another injury blow for Eddie Howe and Newcastle United. Wow, that's huge. Obviously Newcastle, one of those teams who have the back-to-back doubles. In fact, we can have a look at that now. So let's look at the overview fixtures, which are as follows. So much going on here after yesterday's announcement. We've got the big double in 26, which I think we all know like the back of our hand now. Game week 27, there's obviously a few blanks. Arsenal, Chelsea and Liverpool blank. But now we've got the doubles in 28 and 29, which are as follows. So in 28, Aston Villa, Leeds, Newcastle, Southampton, Watford and Wolves all double. If anyone's not seen the video I posted yesterday on this double game week announcement, make sure you give that a watch. It's only about 4 minutes and it's packed with good information. But I'll quickly repeat some of the same points here. But at a glance, Aston Villa like the look of their double. Southampton and Leeds. Leeds, you can make the case for Rafinha because he's got a double now and in 28. Wolves, I love the Wolves double up in defence if you can get to it. 2 home games and Wolves have been very solid at the back. And then in 29, there's a few premium assets with doubles here. Arsenal, Brighton, Everton, Liverpool, Newcastle and Spurs all double in Game Week 29. Most notably Liverpool again, so the likes of Salah, Trent, Robertson, all options there. Robertson should be back, Jota should be back. Spurs double as well, so Kane or Son could be options. But Newcastle, as you may notice here, have the back-to-back doubles in 28 and 29. Perhaps St. Maximin will be back by Game Week 28 and then he might be an option, but right now looks like one to avoid after that news. And the other thing is in Game Week 30 is expected to be a huge blank game week. This is a graphic from Ben Krellin and he's put the percentage chances of the fixtures in Game Week 30 being blank. That's what these are here. These are all the fixtures in Game Week 30. As it stands, the only fixtures going ahead are Leicester, Brentford, Wolves, Leeds and Aston Villa, Arsenal. And touching on the wildcard again, I think that you can prepare for this on a wildcard because there's players from teams like Arsenal, Aston Villa, Wolves, Leeds who you might want and they don't blank in Game Week 30. Burnley and Southampton's the likeliest to also become a fixture. 46% chance of becoming a blank, but it will be a big blank game week, so something to be conscious of as if you don't have a free hit left or anything like that. Sorry if I missed a few messages there while I was rambling. Let's see where I got to. Daniel says, start 2 between Foden, Edouard, Soufal and Cancelo. I would start Foden and Edouard. Hello Black says, bench Bernardo or Diaz. Bernardo or Diaz? I think I'd bench Bernardo. Jack says, hi Focal, who's the best Wolves defender if you can't afford size? The more nailed, the better, as I don't want a benching when I'm taking a hit. I think Semedo is a good option. Not getting many attacking returns, but he is playing the right wing back. I think he's a good option, and he's completely nailed. But honestly, they're all good options. There's not much to separate them all. Kilman, Cody, great options as well. I think I'd avoid Aït-Nouri. He's the cheapest of the bunch, but he has been rotated here and there, so I don't think I would trust him to play. I hope that helps. But honestly, you can't go wrong. I wouldn't overthink it. Amir says, Fernandes to Son for -4 or not necessary. I think I'd avoid the -4 for Son. It wouldn't surprise me if Bruno does very well this game week. He's facing Leeds, who haven't kept a clean sheet since game week 14. And over that run, they're conceding, on average, 2.9 goals per game, which is significant. So it wouldn't surprise me if Bruno gets a return against Leeds. So therefore, I wouldn't take a -4 to get rid of him for Son, personally. Karen says, is this your wildcard draft? Yep, this is the draft. This is it. In fact, I better tweet the draft now. Let me do that. I prepared it just before I went live, but didn't get time. Right, so Gameweek 26, rank 28, wildcard, active, Salah captain, Trent Vice, Veghorst, me, Brozier, boom. Tag me in a photo, in a tweet, guys, where you're watching from. Send me a photo of your setup and tag me in the tweet. I'll retweet it. I'd love to see where you guys are watching from around the world. Tony says, do I take a -4 Jimenez for DCL? Yeah, I don't hate that at all. Jimenez has 2 doubles in 3 game weeks. Calvert-Lewin's got Man City in game week 27, so I think that's a very reasonable -fit. Cornet or Rafinha, asked Afif. Rafinha, in my opinion. Albacedi donated, but didn't put a message, but thanks for the donation. Appreciate that very much. Dean says, have we answered Robbo or Van Dijk yet? We haven't yet, Dean, but my take on it is that this is, although I think Van Dijk's likely to play both games this double, you're making the decision between who you think is going to do better over the course of the remainder of the season, and I think that's Robertson. Robertson perhaps doesn't get as much this double gaming, but I'm looking at the entire remainder of the season, and I'd like Robertson to be a season keeper now in my team, so that's why I've made the decision to get Robertson over Van Dijk. But I do think in isolation, Van Dijk might just edge it for this particular double gaming. So if you're on a free hit, I think I'd have Van Dijk. Russell, thanks for the donation as well. He says he's got Ramsdale, Trent, Cancelo, Tierney, Johnson, Digne, Saka, and Salah triple captain, Bowen, Bruno, Gundogan on the bench, Edouard, Dennis, and Brozier. He can either free hit in 27. Or Van Dijk or Saiz or Robertson. Hang on. I'm not sure I understand it. Free hit 27. Van Dijk or Saiz or Robertson. Or B, Edouard to Jimenez, captain. Or C, wildcard. Sorry, that one really confused me. Let me just work it out. So, free hit 27. I think free hit 27 is great. No problem there. So, Van Dijk or Saiz or Robertson. Robertson, in my opinion. Difficult one. If you plan to wildcard in 28, I think I would go for Van Dijk instead, just for the more assured minutes over the double. Your team looks fine for this game week, to be honest with you, so I don't think I would wildcard. I think free hit in 27, wildcard in 28 would be your perhaps optimal plan there, Russell. But your team looks very strong for this game week, and I don't think you need to wildcard at all. And I think, depending on how many free hits you've got left, 27 free hit is an obvious move as well. I'm trying not to say no-brainer. I always say no-brainer, and I'm making a conscious effort not to say no-brainer as much anymore. But that's what I would do. I hope that helps, Russell. Team looks very good for this game. We definitely don't need to wildcard. Free hit 27, wildcard in 28. I think Van Dijk would be the one I'd get this game week. Felix says, morning Oscar, not on a wildcard this week and looking to bring in a Wolves player. Would you prioritise a move for Jimenez or a defender? Depends who you're starting in place of them, basically. Because Jimenez, he's not really been scoring big recently, so yeah, it depends. I think a Wolves defender is fine, to be honest with you. I think Saiz, but it depends who you have to start instead of Jimenez, if that makes sense. It's very team dependent, hard to answer. I'm not really expecting big returns from Jimenez this double gaming, but he does have 2 doubles in 3 game weeks. So I think it's very sensible to jump on a Wolves player for this double. Sets you up nicely, and beyond the double, they've got a good run of fixtures. Crystal Palace and Watford in 28, but then after that, they've got Everton, and Leeds. I don't blank in Gameweek 30. If you keep them beyond that, Aston Villa, Newcastle, then you could look to get rid for the tail end of the season when we've got blanks and doubles, which there will be more of onwards after Gameweek 30. Massive thank you everyone that has tuned in so far. We're just about halfway to the deadline. If you are enjoying the stream so far, please do hit like on it. We've got 387 likes. Let's get it over 400. The Witcher says, Morning Oscar, what would your free hit look like this week? It honestly wouldn't look too far off this, to be honest with you. Perhaps I'd change Bowen for someone like Zaha, just as a 1 week punt. I think I'd change Rafinha if it was a free hit as well, for someone with a bit more upside in this single game week. But it wouldn't be far off this. I think I'd probably have Kane instead of Jimenez, and then I would change Son to a cheaper midfielder. But it'd basically be about the same as what I've got here. Maybe Van Dijk over Robertson as well, just for the more assured minutes in this double. Krishna says, why did you take Digne out for me? The reason is with Game Week 27 in mind. So in Game Week 27, I'm not planning to free hit. So I'm going to have 9 players playing in 27. 10 if I make a transfer. But I will have 3 double Game Week players. So in effect, it's like having 13 players. Or 12 players, sorry. Bad maths. And then I do have the option to sell me in Game Week 28 if I wanted to. If I wanted to bring in Digne. But Ben Crowlin thinks there's a fair chance of Arsenal or Chelsea getting a double in Game Week 28. In which case, I wouldn't even need Digne, if that makes sense, because I could start Saka or Tierney, who have a double in 28 instead. So that was the thinking there, but behind that. Elliot says, Foden to Saka for a -12, but then I have 10 for Game Week 27. I don't think I'd do a -12 for that, to be honest with you. I don't think it's worth taking a -12 and putting yourself in a worse position in Game Week 27, if that makes sense. I would probably avoid it, to be honest with you, unless you can free hit in 27, in which case I think it's a very, very good move. Russell says, thanks Vocal, 2 free hits left, may dead end the team in Game Week 30. No free transfers left, money isn't an issue, not sure on Edouard to Jimenez for a -4, and Saiss or Van Dijk. I probably wouldn't do Edouard to Jimenez for a -4 personally, and you're in a good position with 2 free hits. I think you free hit in 27. If you need it, you can wildcard in 28. I think you might be tempted once Game Week 28 rolls around, particularly if Arsenal or Chelsea get a double. Everyone's hopped off their Chelsea assets, but Reece James could be back. There could be other options like Mount. So I think there could be some Chelsea options that emerge as well, on top of the already big double Game Week 28 that we have. So it's Saiss or Van Dijk. I think I'd go Van Dijk between the two. Pradip says, Edouard or Weghorst this week. Thoughts on Zaha? I think I'd go for Weghorst just because I don't trust Edouard's minutes now after getting benched the other day. It wouldn't surprise me if he starts both, but it's a bit worrying that he was benched for a game recently. So I think it's risky to get Edouard now, which is a shame because he looked like a very good pick. Thank you to the Flisk for becoming an fplfocal member, or Focali, or whatever we're calling it now. Appreciate that so much, Flisk. If anyone's interested, members get early access to my videos, and there's a private channel on the Discord where I give team feedback. So yeah, well worth it. Links in the description to that. Or if you don't want to give YouTube your money, then there's a Patreon version as well, which is exactly the same cost, and there's only 1 tier, so you get everything. Did I miss another message there? I think I did. It was from Traymar, who donated but no message. Thanks for that, Traymar. And also to Philip, who says, Wildcard active but can't afford Son. Coutinho an option. He's an option, but he has the single game week, which is a shame. But he does have the double in 28, so I think Coutinho is a very, very good option on the wildcard. Yeah, definitely. FPL Phillips is in the chat as well. He says, is that the edge of your green screen we can see? Oh, God. Yeah, it is. Hang on. It always does that. Basically, I've got a green screen that goes on the edge of my chair. There we go. Is that better? I told you guys, I've not slept much. It was a late one last night editing the video. I've not had a chance to set up properly. Bear with me. Thanks for being here and tolerating this unprofessional setup. There we go. How's that? You can still see it. Yeah, it's just a green screen that sticks on the back of my chair. I couldn't be bothered to get a proper one that like goes on a stand behind me, so it's just on my chair. I'm scared to break it as well. I've already broken it once. I don't want to break it on stream. Alright, I'll leave it as is. Where did I get to? I got to... Where was the message? It was Chris who says, transfer Cucurella to Robertson, already on a -4. Cucurella to Robertson. Yeah, I think you can justify that. I'd be tempted to go Van Dijk instead, to be honest, Chris, because he's more assured for minutes. But it depends if you've used a wildcard already. I think you could go for Van Dijk, and then if you wildcard later, you've got the option of switching him up to Robertson, if that makes sense. Albacete says Dawson or Cancelo. Cancelo. I think I'm caught up now. No, I'm not. Steve says wildcard 26, aiming to bench boost in 28. Trying to avoid the free hit 27 as I only have one left. Would you go for Sarr or Pope considering the bench boost 28? Same with Dina versus me. It's a very tricky one if you don't plan to free hit 27 and you plan to bench boost 28. I've used my bench boost already, so I don't have to worry about that. But if you go for Pope, then he has Chelsea in 28. So therefore, I think you have to go for Sarr over Pope. But it does make it tricky because... no, I think that's fine because you've got Sarr who does play in 27. He just doesn't double. So I think Ramsdale and Sarr is your optimum keeper pairing there. Sorry if I'm missing so many messages here. I'm doing my best. Dean says, would you start Laporte or King? I would start King. Elliot says, bench boost with Cancelo, Diaz, Brozier and De Gea on the bench. Yeah, I don't hate that at all. I think that's a very strong bench. They're all likely to play, in my opinion. You imagine it'd be surprising if Pep rotates players like Cancelo and Diaz for a big game against Tottenham. So I think both of them start. Brozier I like, David De Gea I like. I think that's a strong bench. Even though they've all got single game week fixtures, I bench boost with single game week bench players as well, and it worked for me earlier in the season. That's not to say it'll work again, but I think that's a very strong bench. But it depends if you've used your triple captain chip, because it ultimately comes down to whether you can see the bench outscoring Salah or not. If you don't see it happening, then I would go triple captain Salah. Magnus says, start Ramsey, me, or Weghorst. I would start Weghorst. Thanks for the donation, Jack Milner as well. No message, but thank you for that, mate. Appreciate that. True Fandela says, no triple captainship left. Currently, I'm thinking I must go with a differential option and Captain Trent. If anyone else will triple captain Mo, talk me out of it, please. So where I stand on this is Salah's top for predicted points. In fact, I'll pull this up on screen while I talk about this. Salah's top for triple captain. Salah's top for points this game week. So you are betting against the player who has the most predicted points, and it's not even close. It's by some margin, and he's going to have by far the highest ownership and effective ownership. So I think it's very risky to bet against Salah and what he's capable of. So I don't think it's the game week to take such a huge risk, because if Trent scores significantly less than Salah, that could be a season ender basically, because Salah could be something like 230% effective ownership, and if he's not your captain, then he's just 100% owned for you. So that's like 130% points against you that he gets. So it's very risky. Depends on your risk tolerance though, and if you're playing for fun or you want to, you know, if you're trying to consolidate rank or whatnot. But I don't think it's the game week to be smart personally. Jen says he's on a -12. Is it worth getting rid of Reguilon for Tarkowski for an additional -4? Would Reguilon play both games? Tarkowski, I don't know if he repays the hit this game week. He probably will over the next two. I think I prefer Saiss personally. He has a decent double now. Has a fixture in 27, and he has a very, very good double in 28. So I think he edges it for me personally. But Tarkowski's not bad at all. I've got me, I think, but there's not much between the two. Garang says, thanks for the videos. It helped me to convince to use the wildcard. Absolute pleasure. Thanks for watching the videos. Appreciate that. Russell, thanks for the big donation. He says he's got 2 free hits left. Dead end the team in Game Week 30. Money isn't an issue. Eduardo Jimenez from -4. And size for Van Dijk from -8. Team is Ramsdale, Trent, Castelladina, Johnson to size. I like that. Or Van Dijk. Salah triple captain. Saka, Bowen, Gundo, Dennis, Brozier, Edouard. If you plan to wildcard in 30, I think you can justify Jimenez. But I don't know if I would do it. Let me see if there's any Palace leaks. Let me check on my phone. I don't know if I'd be taking a -4 to sell Edouard before he has a double game week. Do you know what I mean? Just checking. No news on Palace. I don't think I would do Edouard to Jimenez for a -4. I think you can make the Jimenez move next game week, or you could do it in 28. I don't think I would do it now. Therefore, I think you make the defender transfer. Money's no object. I think you go Johnson to Van Dijk. Triple captain Salah. I don't think you need to overthink it. I'd like to know what the chat thinks on this one, but I think Edouard to Jimenez is overthinking it a bit, personally. I think you can afford to wait until 27 to make that transfer, or even 28 when Wolves have a very good fixture pairing. I don't think I would do it right now, personally. I think I would just do the Van Dijk move for a -4 and avoid the -8. Mikey says, big Palace account leaked the team. What's the leak? I haven't seen anything. If anyone knows the team or the leaks, let me know. Let's see. I don't know if they're a reliable account or not. I can see the tweet, and they don't have Edouard starting, but I don't know what the reliability of this account is. I'll put it up on the screen, but I'm not sure on the credibility of this account. It is on Reddit and it's been upvoted. Whether that means it's credible or not, but on Reddit they are pretty vigilant. They tend to downvote something if they're not a reliable leak. I'm just going to read the comments on the thread as well, but they don't have Edouard starting. Is this reliable? It says yes. I don't know. I've not seen this account before, so I'm not able to say what the credibility is. To answer your question earlier, Russell, if you believe this tweet, then I would take the -4 for Jimenez and the -8 for Van Dijk. If not, just the Van Dijk move. I will keep refreshing just in case we get any leaks and whatnot. But it's nothing so far. Right, so if anyone's not on the Discord, I'll put a link in the description. We're going to have a look at the captain poll results now. So links in the chat. If you're not on the Discord, join it now. I'll be on there throughout the game week. Really good FPL resource. We've got things like the price changes. We've got the lineups. We've got the live scores. We've got the live points. We've got the bonus points. We've got the gaming stats. We've got the injury updates, top 10k stats, insider trading, news, transfer trends, new players, deadline alerts. And what you can do is you can actually pick alerts you want to receive. So if you wanted to get the price changes on your phone each night, then you can just click that and you get the alert. But we're here for the captain poll results, which are as follows. Salah has 810 votes. Completely dominates the poll this week. That must be over 80% of the vote at a glance. Trent is second with 105 votes. Robertson's third, 20 votes for Robertson. Jota 15 votes, 6 for Son, 4 for Kane and 14 for other. Unbelievable. So I'll put it in the chat one more time if anyone wants to join the Discord. It's going to be a rowdy one this game week in the live chat channel. Did I miss a couple of messages? Apologies if I did. Let me scroll back up. Zelda says, should I start Diaz, Watkins or Digne? I would start Diaz. Thanks for the donation as well, Chris. No message, but appreciate that. Thank you very much. Perfect. Caught up on chat. So yeah, thanks so much everyone for tuning in so far. Unbelievable turnout. If you're enjoying the stream so far, do hit like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. 2,802 tuned in already. Unbelievable. Teddy is about, but I think it's too early for him. He's hiding under my duvet. When I get up early and I open the window and draw the curtains and all that, he basically crawls underneath my duvet and hides there in the dark. Yorang says, Firmino, as a differential this game, we can swap for Jimenez in Gameweek 28 and free hit in 27. Yeah, I don't mind Firmino as a differential. I think I'd only consider it if I was wildcarding in 28. Unless your team is set up perfectly enough that you don't think you need to make any other transfers in 28. In which case, yeah, I don't mind swapping him to Jimenez then. But of course, free hit does use up spare transfers, so you're going to only have one transfer when you get into Gameweek 28. Chris says, Rafinha or Rodriguez or Sarr and Weghorst, who to start? I don't like Rodriguez and I don't like Sarr, so I'm not a big fan of either option. But if I had to pick one, I think it would be Rafinha or Rodriguez, but I'd change Rodriguez to someone like Broja, if possible. I really don't think Rodriguez is a good option though for this double. He's never been much of a goal scorer, so just because he's got 2 doubles, I don't think it suddenly makes him a good option. You know, maybe Vidra gets a game or Barnes gets a game. May not even start all of the next 4. BYR says bench 1, Bowen, Dennis, Coutinho. That's difficult. I'd probably bench Coutinho. I think you have to start Dennis because he's got the double. You have to start Bowen because he's got Newcastle at home. Traymar says, forgot the message. It was Foster. It's going to move off the screen. Let me copy it. Let me copy it into Notepad so I don't lose your message. It was Foster, Reguilon, Trent, Robbo, Bowen, Salah, Lucas, Saka, King, Dennis, Edouard, David Gea, Cancelo, Dale, Foden. Do I play Reguilon, Cancelo, or a hit to swap Reguilon? You play Cancelo. Reguilon, I'm not sure if he's going to play at all. Rumours that he's got COVID, so I don't think Reguilon even plays this game week, so I think you can justify taking a hit for him. But in your case, I would just start Cancelo. Hope that helps. Very quick look at the clean sheet odds, which are from checkthechance.com, and they've aggregated both games together. So Liverpool top with a 77% chance of keeping 1 clean sheet in either of their double game week fixtures. Arsenal second, 75% chance. Man City have the single game week, but they're third. Then Wolves, Crystal Palace, Tottenham. Rock bottom is Norwich with a 5.5% chance. Close behind them is Newcastle, who play West Ham away, and Brentford. Domster says Zaha or Rafinha. Raf's been so poor. I think I'd still go Rafinha just because he's got 2 doubles in the next 3 game weeks, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, I forgot to check who tagged me in photos of where they're watching from. Let's have a look. Scrolling through. Found one. We've got Sarah Vankus says, watching fplfocal with Oz movies while doing some work. Nice Saturday morning. We'll retweet that. Don't know if there's any other ones. Mango says, onto the wildcard wagon. We'll retweet that one as well. John says, thanks for the stream, Oscar, Florida, USA. No problem, John. Thank you. Shout out to John, by the way, for becoming an fplfocal member recently. Appreciate that, John. We've got Thanos says, Grease, bruv. Just Grease, bruv. Alright, there we go. Chris says, Crocs and fplfocal. Love the Crocs. What a setup. Not a great photo of me. You've caught me while I'm blinking, but I'll forgive it and retweet. Appreciate that. Thanks, Chris. Thomas says, when are you planning your triple captain? I think when I'll probably use it is in game week 29 now, when Liverpool have a double game week. I think I've got the double game week fixtures here. In game week 29, Liverpool do have a double against Brighton and Arsenal, both away fixtures, but since it's Liverpool, I'll be very tempted to use it on Salah then instead, but we'll see. I'll play it by ear, but I think Salah is a very good option for that game week instead. You know, it's still Salah in a double game week. Not as good as the fixture pairing that we have this game week, but it is Salah, so I think it's a very good option for those who are on a wild card now. Jamie says, sell Bruno for Son, already on a -8. Nah, I wouldn't do it. Not for another hit. Not for a -12. Wouldn't surprise me if Bruno does well this game week. Andrew says, bench Weghorst, Rafinha or Bowen. Weghorst. Start King or Weghorst. Have Dennis as well. I would start King. That bloody Watford double up burnt us so badly back when Dennis got that red card. And it just won't look like getting rid. Watford get another double game week announced, and now we're wondering whether we keep them or not. I've been them both off on my wild card, but if I wasn't wild carded, I'd still be stuck with Josh King. But it is a double game week, so I think you can make exceptions to keep hold during doubles. Stefan says, on a wild card, Tarkowski or Digne, bench or start Ramsey. In my case, I went Tarkowski because I'm not free hitting in 27, so it depends what your plan is in 27. If you're planning to free hit, then I think you're fine to have Digne, because Tarkowski, you only get him for this game week, if that makes sense. So I'd go for... depends on your strategy, basically, which way I'd go there. Right, let's check if there's any leaks or early news or whatnot. Azpilicueta potentially out for the Palace game. Yeah, I just don't know the credibility of that Palace leak we saw earlier, which had Edouard and Olise benched. I wouldn't want to put it up on the screen and say this is absolutely what the lineup would be. I've not had any Palace news myself, unfortunately, so I don't know. I will keep checking though up until the deadline. Other than that, it doesn't look like we've got any early news or leaks. Emil, thanks for the donation. No message, but appreciate that. Thanks so much. Laporte or Ramsey for starting, or a -4 for Cornet? I would just start Laporte. Wouldn't take the -4. Ramsdale or Sarr in goal? Ramsdale. Johnny says, morning Oscar, which game weeks are viable to wildcard? I think this game week's viable. I think 28 is viable. I posted a video yesterday on chip strategy following the double game week announcement. If you've not given that a watch, it's only 4 minutes, so you've got time to watch that and be back. But I basically touched on chip strategy on that video, and I think 28 is a good opportunity to wildcard as well. Or failing that, if your team looks good, then I think if you save the wildcard for after blank game week 30, you're in a good position for the tail end of the season. So I think those are the three standouts, this game week 28 or after 30. Will says, bench one of Cancelo, Coutinho, Rafinha or King. Cancelo, Coutinho, Rafinha or King. Quite a tough one. I think Coutinho. Jeanette says, Cody or Saiss. Not much in it, but I've gone for Saiss. Saiss is great in the air, aerial threat, on corners, so... And they play Leicester as the first of their double, who are conceding, I think, the most goals from corners and set pieces. So I like the threat that Saiss has, but there's not much between the two. But I prefer Saiss just about. Start Weghorst or Ramsey? Weghorst. I don't know if Fergal's still in the chat, but I was chatting to him on the Discord minutes before going live. So if you're in the chat, Fergal, shout out to you, mate. And appreciate you chatting last night and this morning. Aloe Black says, bench Sanchez or Guaita? Bench Sanchez. Start Guaita, who has the double game week. Start Ramsey or Watkins? There's rumours that Watkins is benched for Ings this game week, so I think I would start Ramsey personally. Amir says, what are your transfer plans next week? I'm planning to roll the transfer in game week 27, and then in game week 28 I may go Bowen to Coutinho. Bowen has Liverpool away, whereas Coutinho has a double game week, so I'm considering that. Could do Ben Mee to Digne, or perhaps both, so there's a few options there for the coming game weeks, but I'd like to roll the transfer and just try and ride out 27. 27 will be a rough game week, but hopefully I can make up some ground this game week off the back of the wild card to lessen the blow in game week 27. And I will be tripled up on Burnley, which should help with the double. Sorry for all the questions I'm missing. I'll do my best to get through them all, but it's difficult to get all the messages. Mikhail says, Mane for Jota, not worth considering. I think Mane's a great option in isolation for this game week, but I don't know if he's worth the risk longer term. you know, Diaz was signed to compete with Mane down the left wing. So can we trust Mane to be getting good consistent minutes? Jota obviously out, so Firmino looks more assured up top. I think Jota's mainly competing with Firmino now, but Jota can play down the left as well, as we've seen. It wouldn't surprise me if someone like Mane or Firmino ends up one of the top scorers this game week, but we have to look longer term. I only look at 1 week punts really if I'm about to wildcard. If you plan to wildcard in 28 and perhaps free hit in 27, then I think this is a perfect opportunity to take a 1 week punt on someone like Firmino or Mane. Otherwise, I don't think it's worth considering someone like Mane. Shout out to MMA4 as well, who has renewed the membership for 2 months, and he says he's tempted to triple captain Trent over Salah. I think Trent is a very, very good option in isolation, but you're betting against Salah, who's top for predicted points, and you can make the case of being the best player in the world at the moment. So, you know, you're betting against all of that. It's very risky. And you're also betting against his ownership, which will be over 200%, I imagine. He is in the chat. Good to see you, Fergal. Jafar says, play Cancelo, King, Edouard or Elise. If you have to pick one, I think you go for one of the double game week players. There's rumours Edouard's benched. I don't know, you know, what the merits behind the rumour is, but I think I'd go for King based on that. I will keep checking in case we get any last minute leaks or whatnot, particularly Palace, but I've not had anything yet. We'll keep you guys posted if I get anything. But it's not ideal to be benching Edouard, I have to say, who has a double game week, because he could still come off the bench, could start the second of the double. For all we know, he could start both, but I think King just about edges it for that reason. If anyone wants to look at that tweet, it's on Reddit with the Crystal Palace lineup. I haven't seen their tweets before, so I don't know what the credibility is, but the comments seem to suggest that they're reliable, and they had Elise and Edouard both benched, but we'll see. The Skip says, bench 2 of Edouard, Cancelo, Digne, Broja. I would bench Digne, and I think I'd bench Broja. I know Edouard, there's rumours that he's benched, but I think I would still start him, because he could still start, or he could come off the bench, like I said, or start the second of the double, so I think Edouard's still fine to start in your situation. FPL Phillips says, I get locked in before the website crashes. Yeah, have I saved my team? I have. Yeah, I'm fine. This is locked in. Let me just reload as well to make sure, because I suppose there's wildcards and transfers flying at the moment. In fact, what we'll do, we'll have a very quick look at the most transferred in and most transferred out players. Most transferred in is Mo Salah, of course. 1.2 million transfers in for Mo Salah. That is unbelievable. I did wonder whether he'd have over 1 million new owners by the deadline. I mentioned it way back on the roundup video when he had about 400k transfers in. Saka's second, or about 750,000 have brought in Saka. Jimenez is third. Son, Broja, Coutinho, Bowen, Lacazette, Ramsdale, Tierney, Gabriel. Lots of double game players here. No surprises. Most transferred out. Let's see who it is. It is, of course, Jota after his injury. 1.2 million have sold Jota. Second's Bruno, 433,000 have sold Bruno. De Bruyne third. No surprises here to see the premium assets, as they obviously, you would assume, are make ways for the likes of Salah and Son. But I personally wouldn't take a -4 to sell Bruno for Son, I don't think. I still think Bruno could do well this game week. Janania, I don't know if I said your name right, sorry. It says bench 2 of Veikos, Tarkowski, Coutinho, Broja, Cancelo. I'd bench Broja. Oh, that's tough. I think I'd bench Tarkowski as well. I think it's not a great double for Burnley, even though he has the double. I think that's what I would do. We're about 5 minutes away from the deadline. Make sure you've got your team sorted, bench in the right order, captain sorted, chips activated if you're triple captaining. Appreciate everyone that has tuned so far. We got over 3,000 tuned in, which is an unbelievable turn up. If you have enjoyed the stream so far, do hit like. If you missed it, my wildcard is active, and this is my draft, as you see on screen now. I made the decision because I was going to take a -4 this week. I was going to take a -4 next. I wanted to save the free hit, so it sets me up for this game week. It sets me up for 27 or thereabouts. It sets me up for 28 and 29. And it could set me up for Game Week 30 as well, in which case I would be able to... Sorry, I thought Teddy was joining the stream. Not now, Ted. In 10 minutes and I'll be done. Come on in. There he is. Welcome to the stream, Teddy. Fashionably late, 5 minutes before the deadline. Better late than never, Ted. Ramsey or Cornet? If that's who to start, I think I'd go Cornet because he's got the double and attacking threat. Start Veghorst or Bowen? Difficult one. I think Bowen. Mahrez captain in 27. Yeah, possibly if you've got him. Yeah, not a terrible shout. I'll probably end up going for Son captain in my case, who has Leeds, which is a great fixture. And as we said, Leeds haven't kept a clean sheet since Game Week 14, and over that period they're conceding on average 2.9 goals per game. Not seeing any leaks coming through just yet. I don't know if we'll get any before the deadline, to be honest, but we'll keep an eye on and keep refreshing. I'm just going to check Twitter as well. Let's see. No leaks. I think I missed a message there. Let me scroll back up. Hake News says, bench Antonio or Bernardo Silva. I think I'd bench Bilva. I know Antonio has been so poor recently, but it's Newcastle at home, you know. He could still come good. It's a good fixture. Really need to sneeze, but I don't want to sneeze on stream. If anyone's not in our Discord, I'll put the link in the chat one more time as well. I'll be on there throughout the game week. Forgot to mention, I know some of you might know this already, but today I'm going to an FPL meetup in London, and there's going to be loads of FPL content creators and members of the FPL community there. Mark Southerns will be there, Chaz or Az from the Scout and Black Box will be there, FPL Raptor will be there, FPL Nima. So hope to get some great selfies, probably lots of drunk selfies, and I'll be posting them probably on Instagram actually. If anyone's not following me on Instagram, definitely give me a follow. I've just started posting quite recently on Instagram, but I am really active on it now. Hopefully that link works. Chuck me a follow on Instagram. I've been posting for about the last month now, so I'm relatively new to being active on it, but I'm fully committed now. I will be posting every video and whatnot. So links in the chat to the Instagram if you want to follow that. It's just fplfocal, same username everywhere. Leskip says, take a hit to get Rafinha in and start over Cancelo. I don't think I would do it. I don't think I'd take a hit to start Rafinha over Cancelo. It's not a good double for Rafinha. And you're benching Cancelo, who has hauled against top sides on numerous occasions this season. Against Chelsea, against Man United. I think against Chelsea twice. I think both times they played Chelsea, if I'm not mistaken, Cancelo hit double-digit points. So, yeah. And I'm thinking about streaming. I don't know if I will or not, but I was thinking about doing a stream at the FPL meetup. I think it'll be quite interesting, wouldn't it? Like a fly-on-the-wall experience. I'll just stick a phone in the corner and have it pointed at the FPL meetup so you can watch us all chatting and laughing and crying over the scores, particularly the 3 o'clock games today. Let me know if you think I should do it. Chris says 2 minutes till the deadline. Final reminder to check your bench, make sure it's in the right order. Captain sorted, vice captain, whatnot. Make sure you're locked in. We've got about a minute till the deadline now. Final reminder, if you have enjoyed the stream, do like it. Really appreciate you all tuning in. We've got about 3,000 tuned in. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already. The Art of Football did a -12. I've seen a lot of hits flying around this game week. FPL Raptor I saw took a -20, I believe. Addy says, any plans to bring in Ward-Prowse? Yeah, possibly. I may bring him in for Bowen in game week 28, when Southampton have Villa and Newcastle as their double, and Bowen has Liverpool, so it looks like a good opportunity to bring him in. But I'm also considering Coutinho for that week as well. Chris says 1 minute, we're counting down. We're nearly there. Jake says, just lost £1 million on transfers. Yeah, I think I did as well. I had Jota since he was 7.6, and I sold him when, I don't know what he is now, it must be about 8.5. I think he went down last night. So I lost quite a bit of money. In fact, I lost loads. I sold Cancelo, who, massive shout out to Cancelo. It was thanks to him that I got to rank 1. I had him since Gameweek 1. My gut feel was that he'd get a lot of minutes this season. And then obviously the whole Mendy thing came out, so that kind of made his minutes even more assured. But yeah, massive shout out to Cancelo for getting me to this point. I have to just bring it up on screen because I need to frame this. I mean, that's the stuff dreams are made of, isn't it? That was, when was that? About game week 19 or so. Overall rank 1. I mean, there we go. Doesn't get better than that. I'm going to keep that screenshot forever. I'll probably frame it as well, stick it on the wall. Maybe I'll have it in the background behind me on the streams. But that's it. That's the deadline. We made it. We're there. Locked in. Really excited for this game week. It's a big double. It's an exciting one. The wildcard's active. It's going to be an entertaining game week. Loads of wildcards active. We'll see how this game week pans out. It's going to be an interesting day for me because I'll be at this FPL meetup checking the scores on my phone because it's the 3 o'clock games aren't televised. I'll be checking on my phone throughout the game week, but people in the chat saying Robertson bench. Surely not. Don't give me that. I'm not having it. Could happen. You know, there is a chance that Simicast gets a game this double, but on a wildcard you have to pick a player who you want to be your long-term pick, and I felt like Robertson's more likely to be the longer-term pick. Where are you guys seeing Robertson bench though? Just checking the leaks. I have not seen it anywhere. Chat's trolling, I think. Well played though. I mean, you got me to read it out because you all said it at the same time. But anyway, that's it from me. I'm not going to stick around for much longer. I've got loads to sort before I head out to this FPL meetup. I appreciate you all tuning into the stream. Let's see if there's anyone live who we can raid. Let's see. Any FPL YouTubers live who we can head over across to. Let's see. We love a good raid these days. Let's see who's live. FPL, Elite FPL, that's who we can raid. We'll raid Elite FPL. I'll stick my Discord in the chat if anyone's not on there. I will be on there throughout the game week. That's the link to my Discord. Andy said Robertson benched. Oh no. Well, there we go. Double game week off to a bad start. Alright, we're going to go over to Elite FPL. I'll stick their stream in the chat. Everyone head over to here. fplfocal raid. That's it from me. Thanks so much for everyone for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Hit like on the stream if you did enjoy it. Hit subscribe if you're not already. Appreciate you all tuning in. And I'll see you soon for the next one. Focal out.